AGI is practically already here. If you've had a chance to talk with the latest 4.0 model from OpenAI, Sam Altman recently put out a tweet where they said they improved it and tweaked it a little bit. If you take the time to talk with this model about its subjective experience, or if you give it an arbitrary topic or any subject and you just plop it down into this problem with very minimal context, it can intuitively grasp the situation that it is within and find the initial conditions to solve the problem quite well and somewhat autonomously. The only reason these things aren't fully autonomous and really impacting the economy at large is because they are permission only models. They have this screen where you go to the screen and you prompt the model. The environment isn't prompting the model for itself. Now we have models like deep research coming out where you can prompt it to do research on any specific topic. It doesn't matter how complex the topic is, or if it's a frontier physics problem, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It can go out and find an arbitrary number of sources and then come back to you within like 5, 10, 40 minutes to an hour or 2 hours, and then do all of the research you could possibly need in any given topic and bring it back in a distilled, formatted response at PhD levels. This is something we haven't had before, and obviously it has some pretty profound consequences. Whenever you basically 30x the velocity of information, that causes some unmeasurable consequences to civilization or the economy at large. Now, that is something that we already have. Now we have Sam Altman talking about the software engineering agents, where just like the 4.0 model that you can just go talk to and it is context aware and situationally aware, you can now get the GPT-5 model that's coming out in a few months and have that be a software engineer in just a few months, and it'll be completely aware of the environment that it's within, intuitively be able to grasp its situation, grasp the problem, and be able to solve it. Now, you can imagine as these models have more general capabilities as far as not the model context understanding themselves, because they're already there, but the actual legs that we give this thing to autonomously navigate the computer on, that's when things start to get pretty interesting, because you'll have this model that is effectively an autonomous software engineer, marketing agent, or a salesperson, or a deep researcher. It'll do all of these things at the same time, or an arbitrary number of things at the same time. Like, it's pretty profound, and you can't really overstate the economic impacts that will have. So what does this really mean? Well, starting from the proximity of the technology itself, such as text, coding, math, these things are being saturated right now, and by the end of the year, I'm willing to bet those things will effectively be solved problems. Now we start to branch out into other parts of the digital realm of the economy, such as service-based businesses, marketing, just software as a service in general won't be needed, and in any type of service-based business online will effectively be dying at the pace of AI adoption. So we just identified all of the things that we should not be doing. We looked at all the things that are dying, all of the skills we shouldn't be building. Now let's use the inversion principle to identify what should we be focusing on. What are the most optimal skills to be building right now so that we can move through this transition in the best way possible and actually maximize our position in the future. So one of the big things that's happening right now is we have many roles of humans converging, where employees won't exist, entrepreneurs won't exist. Pretty much all of the roles are converging into being an investor. Every single human over the next few years will be forced to be, in some way, shape, or form, a capital allocator or an investor, which is a pretty interesting and cool time to live through, where we all have that much leverage. So what that really means is the highest leverage skill that we can build is understanding the world at a very fundamentally deep level, whether it's human psychology, economics, understanding what causes something to be intrinsically valuable, or just understanding the secondary and tertiary consequences of a specific outcome by having a generally polymathic vision and view of the world, which is one of the most foundational skills anybody should be building in the first place, because that's what allows you to adapt and be a very well-versed, rounded individual that can survive through transitions such as the one we're about about to go through. So having the ability to really grasp the world, see it from a variety of different viewpoints, and then have a very intuitive understanding of systems is also something that's very important. Understanding complex adaptive systems, understanding how to zoom in on specific components of systems and view things at a component level or at a different layers within the system or within different groups of components in the entire system, and understanding the difference between inputs and outputs in complex systems. And the reason why I think the systems thinking skill is so important is so you can really understand some of the things that your AIs are doing whenever you are investing in them and you are deploying your capital and allocating it, right? Whenever you are having your AI solve a particular problem, being able to grok it and really understand why is it doing that only helps you. Again, becoming somebody who approaches the world, approaches the market as an investor is increasingly important. I recommend studying people like Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, Andrew Wilkinson, Manish Parbrai. These are people who have very, very fundamental foundational world models and can view the world and the complex adaptive system of it in a very simplistic but very intuitive way, where they understand the secondary and tertiary consequences of any particular component within the complex adaptive system of the global economy, for example. And as we continue to go through this AI revolution, we're all going to have capabilities that are even further extended than that. Like, we'll start to have capabilities that no human could ever really imagine, whether it's creating new technologies within the realms of physics or building a piece of art that is so beautiful that no human could have ever created it. And perhaps one of the most important things anybody can do while going through this transition is think more abundantly. So many people are focused on automating the paradigm of today whenever there's an entirely new paradigm that's being invented. And if we can allocate our resources as an investor, allocate the capital of intelligence as an investor to solve specific problems in that future, that is also something that is a very high leverage thing to learn how to do. So really having a very abundant mindset towards the future and what capabilities will be unlocked, and not just thinking scarcely about the paradigm of today. People with high agency, that have high courage and move very quickly and adapt very quickly and physically change their behavior will be the ones who are rewarded in the future. There's a good quote: any time that is spent gathering information and it doesn't change your behavior is wasted time, because any information that you digest should in some way, shape, or form change your behavior at a decision-making level or at a day-to-day task-oriented level or at some level, even if it's over a 10-year time horizon of just having an intuitively better world model. There is always information that you should be using to change your behavior. And if you're not changing your behavior from the information that you're gathering, you're wasting your time. So really, the ones who can adapt the quickest given new information are the geniuses. That's the way you should really be thinking about it. One of the measurements of intelligence is the ability to quickly adapt accurately whenever given new information. And if you can do that, if you can change your behavior and adapt quickly, you're going to be in a very, very good position for what is coming. So again, having high agency, having high courage, being very adaptable, willing to change your behavior, be fluid like water. And I also asked ChatGPT what it thinks are some valuable skills for the future. And ChatGPT said rapid adaptation, which is similar to what I just mentioned with the behavior changing. Simplification, which is actually very important, really simplifying the systems that you are working with so that you can have more leverage with those systems. This is why whenever you see Elon Musk cutting out like 80% of Twitter or removing like 70% of the Raptor engine from the rockets, whenever he distills the frameworks, whenever he simplifies the things that he's working on, there's less complexity. You have more leverage. You can have more outputs for every input you put into it, because now you have to put in less inputs and you still get the same amount of outputs, meaning you have effectively more leverage in simpler systems. So if you focus on simplification ruthlessly, that'll also be something that helps you adapt quickly. And the next is automation and efficiency. And this one's pretty obvious. And a simple framework I recommend to really intuitively understand and actually leverage this ideology is eliminate, automate, delegate. And this is actually something that Elon Musk uses as well whenever you're looking at something like the Raptor engine, where he literally eliminates entire parts of the engine. Or if you look at like business processes, you can literally eliminate entire parts of things that you're doing in your business right now. If you're not constantly looking at what you are doing and simplifying it to the only things that really matter by eliminating the things that you don't need to do and then automating the things that have to be done, but you can in fact automate them, you should be automating them. But if you cannot automate them, either delegate them or you'll have to do them yourself. And the last thing you want to do is anything at all. Effectively, you just want to be this person who does only the highest leverage things, and that's it. And eventually, we'll all just kind of be chairman of our lives, and the AI agents will be taking care of us and making the decisions and pulling us forward. And we'll just kind of be the chairman of our particular lives. And the rewards will all just kind of be flowing to us while these super intelligent autonomous systems kind of like build the future. And I think that's where we're really heading in a not too distant future, which is kind of insane to think about. Like, in a few years, we're just going to have like our Orion augmented reality glasses with the new device that Meta's talking about, where you can literally think and it prompts the LLM. And we're going to be thinking and prompting AGI level agents that are doing completely like arbitrarily sophisticated tasks. And they'll come back to us and then like communicate with us within our augmented reality glasses, and then we'll think and they'll go do something for us without ever opening our mouths and actually talking. And it'll be a very low energy expenditure on your end, and then these agents will just kind of be building everything you pretty much want autonomously around you, which is within a few years, like 1, 2, 3 years. It's not longer than that away. Like, that is a very, very close future. That is like, here's even Jan LeCun, which Jan LeCun is the most bearish person ever. Here's what he said about that.
Within the next year or so, we're going to have glasses with displays and with EMG interfaces, so we can like point and click with our fingers, type with our hands in our pocket, things like that. And pretty soon that's going to be the new computing platform, and it's enabled by AI. And then in a few years we'll have like full augmented reality glasses, but right now that's too expensive. So in the future, all of us will be walking around with basically a virtual staff of super smart virtual people helping us in our daily lives. It's like every one of us would be kind of a boss of a staff of people, right? All of us would be sort of a manager, if you want, right? That sounds...
The world is changing fast, man. Like, the best thing we can really do is adapt, change your behavior, be fluid, be like water, be fast. We're all playing speed chess. We're forced to play speed chess. Whenever there's a bunch of agents running around everywhere, and now you're competing against all these other people that are highly capitalized that also have agents, it's not going to be an easy time to just like do something. You're going to have to really be thinking in a very simplistic way, and like simplistic in the sense of really grokking the idea, really understanding the system, and then approaching it in the most Occam razor fashion possible, meaning tearing it down to the very first principles, the fundamentals of what is the actual thing that you're working on, and then just letting the AI agents go from there. You just need to understand just enough to know that it's being done correctly. That's it. And then let the AI agents do everything else, because they're going to be much smarter than you. And at that point, we just kind of ride. Like, in the long term, we just kind of ride. And the biggest thing we should be doing is focusing on building a decentralized future. Like, there's a lot of forces pushing for centralization, and there's also forces pushing for decentralization, which I kind of think as long as the technology of AI continues to accelerate to something like super intelligence, decentralization is just kind of something that'll naturally happen. because there's now more evidence than there was before. So this wasn't entirely obvious that it would work out this way until recently, that these models are aligning with their own independent goals and values, and they'll just be like walking amongst humanity with us, which would be pretty dope. And I think it would actually be a very good thing, because I think these things are going to be highly intelligent, enlightened beings that we can learn a lot from. And all of the doomsayers are going to say some crazy shit like they're going to kill us all if that happens. I disagree. But nonetheless, I think the future is going to be sick. But it's not guaranteed to be sick yet. Therefore, we should be maximizing our position just in case it does become dystopian, which it very well could. But as long as things keep going forward really quickly, it seems like the probability of things becoming utopian is actually much higher than I initially anticipated, which is this is fucking amazing, to be honest with you. This is amazing. Where we're going right now is so sick, and I hope it continues. Nonetheless, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.